Before we start, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss stories like mine. And leave your thoughts in the comments. I really want to know how you'd handle something like this. I still remember the moment everything changed. I was at my wife's company party, a lavish affair full of laughter, chatter, and the clinking of glasses. She had insisted I come with her this year. At first, I was hesitant, unsure if I belonged in that world of suits and corporate politics, but she had smiled, pulled my hand and said, "You'll be fine. Just be yourself." I tried. I smiled, I nodded, I made small talk. But somewhere in the back of my mind, I couldn't shake the feeling that I didn't fully belong. That nagging uncertainty became a sharp, sudden reality when my badge slipped from my pocket and fell to the floor. I bent down quickly to pick it up, my face flushed with embarrassment, only to realize my wife's boss had scooped it up first. Her eyes met mine briefly, and then she glanced down at the badge. My name stared back at her in bold letters. For a moment I didn't understand why her expression had changed so suddenly. There was a flicker of something in her eyes, something I couldn't quite read. Curiosity maybe, but then something sharper. A subtle smirk, a knowing glance toward my wife. That night the party went on, but I couldn't focus. Every laugh, every toast, every dance felt like it was happening behind a glass wall, and I was watching from the outside. My wife moved through the crowd with ease, chatting, laughing, leaning a little too closely toward her boss at moments that felt intimate. I told myself I was imagining it, that I was being paranoid. But the seed of doubt had been planted. Over the next few days I noticed subtle changes. She started receiving texts late at night, always claiming they were from work. She'd step out to take calls, her expression guarded, her voice clipped. Sometimes she'd smile at her phone in a way she never smiled at me. A private world I wasn't allowed to enter. I questioned myself constantly. Was I overreacting? Was I just insecure, jealous, or imagining patterns where there were none? I replayed the party in my mind over and over. That glance her boss gave me when he held my badge. The way my wife lingered near him. My stomach churned, but I kept telling myself I had nothing to fear. I wanted to trust her. I had to trust her. But then the messages appeared. I'd never seen her phone like this before. Screenshots of texts, pictures, plans she had carefully hidden. The most painful were the photos from the office party. Her and her boss standing close, laughing, their faces too familiar, too comfortable. In one picture, he had his arm around her shoulder, and she leaned in without hesitation. My chest tightened, my heart sank. The realization hit me like a punch. She wasn't just friendly, she wasn't just laughing, it was something more. Something I hadn't been invited into. I confronted her one evening, trying to keep my voice steady. Was there something at the party I should know about? Her eyes flicked up, and for a moment I saw fear, or was it guilt? "No," she said quickly, almost too quickly. "It's not what you think. He's just my boss. We were talking work, that's all." But her voice trembled slightly. Her hands twisted in her lap. And I knew she wasn't telling the whole truth. I didn't want to believe it. I wanted to think I was misreading everything. But every message, every hidden call, every subtle change in behavior confirmed what I feared. She had allowed something to happen that crossed the line. Lines I didn't even know she was willing to blur. She had let her boss step into spaces that should have been private, into moments that were ours. The emotional fallout was brutal. Memories that used to feel warm and safe now stung with betrayal. Small moments, her laughing at a joke, the way she touched my arm became suspect. I questioned everything. Every kiss, every smile, every quiet night at home suddenly felt like it might have been shared elsewhere, with someone else. I felt both rage and heartbreak, a dizzying mixture of disbelief and sorrow. Yet even in the midst of this pain, I felt a strange clarity. I could see the difference between love and compromise, between intimacy and half-truths, between a shared life and a life we were living in parallel, where one of us had already crossed a boundary I couldn't accept. The turning point came one evening when I found a series of texts she had tried to delete. The conversation between her and her boss left no room for doubt. Plans that weren't work-related. Messages laced with teasing, subtle flirtation, and familiarity that belonged to partners, not colleagues. I realized that confronting her wouldn't be about extracting a confession. It would be about reclaiming my own dignity. When I finally spoke to her, I chose calm, measured words. "I know everything," I said, holding her gaze steadily. I see the pictures, the texts, the way you've let him cross lines. I can't stay in this life if it means sharing you, even emotionally, with someone else. She was silent, eyes wide with surprise and regret. I didn't mean for it to. I didn't realize how it would feel. I understand, I interrupted gently, though my heart ached. I understand that you didn't see it the way I did. But I also understand that boundaries were crossed and trust was broken. And now I have to leave. I walked away that night, leaving behind the apartment we had shared, the memories we had built, and the life I thought we had. There was no dramatic shouting, no destruction. Just the quiet, painful act of reclaiming my own self-respect. In the weeks and months that followed, I reflected deeply. I revisited memories, separating what was real from what had been illusions. I learned that betrayal doesn't just hurt, it teaches. It forces you to see yourself clearly, to understand your own worth, and to recognize the difference between love that builds and love that diminishes. I still think of her sometimes. I remember the warmth of her hand in mine, the laughter we shared on weekends, the quiet mornings together. But those memories no longer hold me captive. They are reminders of a lesson learned, a trust broken, and a life I chose to reclaim. Ultimately, I realized that love isn't just about shared experiences. It's about mutual respect, honesty, and boundaries. Anything less is not love. It's a compromise of your own heart. And walking away, as painful as it was the most loving choice I could make. For her, for him, and most importantly for myself.